Nice. CBS original Wipeout, all new Tuesdays at 9 on CBS and anytime on the app.
Check out this shoe that altered my new hands-free. Slip-ins have an invisible built-in shoe port, so my foot slides into place. Then the patented heel pillow technology.
You guys telling secrets? Mine is that Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk to you about the issue that affects many of us in our community, the noon and 5 p.m. siren. That is correct. It is not a whistle. It is a siren. To be exact, it is a Decot Red Arrow Model 50 siren, a siren that belongs to the past, not the present, and a siren that we can do without. When I moved here, or as some of my fellow community members like to call it, transplanted to this community back in 2016, the siren was broken. It was over a year until it was fixed and worked again. I was very shocked and had no clue as to why this siren would ring every single day. The siren, from what I have learned, at one time was a useful tool for this community back in the early 20th century. However, times have changed. And so have the needs and preferences of people who call this town home. The siren is no longer a useful tool to this community, nor is it a pleasant reminder of our community's history, but rather a nuisance and a disruption to everyday life. The siren is especially annoying to those who live directly around Central Park, where the siren is located. Even going a few blocks away from the park, the level is nowhere near the volume level as it is when living right by the park. I have watched the volume level of the siren startle and frighten children in the park and at the pool, covering their ears and running. My dog, for example, screeches and howls every time the siren goes off, not in the cute, let's take a video kind of way, but in a way that's stressing her out and making her very uncomfortable. The noon siren is unfair to those who work different shifts and need to sleep during the day. Imagine how hard it is to fall asleep or to remain asleep with the siren going off every day. This can not only affect their health and well-being, but can affect their performance and productivity at work. I'm personally more affected by the 5 p.m. siren, as that's when I'm at home with my family, trying to enjoy our evening together. The siren regularly interrupts our conversations, our meals, our relaxing, our everyday time together. It is not a pleasant way to end my day. Therefore, I appeal to you, our city council, the elected representatives of our community, to come up with a solution that is fair for all in this community. Whether that be using it for the historic nature that so many want by sounding it off during special events throughout the year, maybe going down to once a day, or maybe getting done with it altogether. We all deserve to have a say in what happens in our community, especially those who live closest to the park, where the siren is located. These are the members that are most affected in our community. We all deserve to have peace and quiet in our homes. It is time to put an end to this siren and start a new chapter in our town's history, a chapter that respects the wishes and well-being of all who call Edgerton home, a chapter that we all can be proud of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you ask people to state their address as well?
I told them I was not gonna do that because, we were concerned. We have them on the record.
Okay, all right.
On the notes here. So, by all means.
Lyle Maves, 909 Sweeney Road, Edgerton. I have a question for the council. Is the siren operated by the fire department or the city? City. Is there a large maintenance cost to the siren annually?
Not annually, it's only when it fails, we have to fix it.
So I mean, does anybody have any idea how much we've spent in the past 5 years on the siren?
I don't know.
Timer last summer, was it?
It was earlier this year, I think it was about $800 for a new timer and a new relay and a rewiring.
$800?
Yeah.
So it's pretty minimal.
Yep.
I would just like to say I like to keep the noon and 5 o'clock siren. It's part of this town's charm. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcia Mash.
Hi. So I live right on the park. And I love the whistle. I moved here just about 2 years ago. And I grew up in Browntown. Surprises me how many people don't know where that is. It's about 11 miles west of Monroe. Browntown had a noon whistle. And when I was a kid, the noon whistle told us it was time to go home for lunch. And 5 o'clock, well, we didn't have a 5 o'clock whistle, we had 6 o'clock church bells. Can't hear the church bells very well, but I know they go off at 6, because I live on Central Park. So I would like to keep the whistle. When I'm working out in my yard in the summer, it tells me it's time to go in, and at night to wrap things up, clean up, go in. The kids in the pool, I haven't seen any kids screaming and running in fear. And I'm over there at noon, Monday through Friday in the summer at the aerobics class. Yeah, they cover their ears, but they also know that when that whistle blows at noon, the pool's open. So I like the whistle the first time I heard it, and I wasn't told when I bought a piece of property here that there was gonna be whistles or sirens or whatever they're called. But the first time I heard it, I cried. Because to me, I came home. So I hope we keep the whistle. I think this little one here likes the whistle. I think she told me that, I'm not sure, but thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Mansky.
Lisa Vensky, 412 East Fulton Street. I wrote this down because I'm not much of a public speaker, but thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My purpose is not only to show my support of keeping our both noon and 5 o'clock whistles, but also to maybe address a few questions that I'd like to make them facts instead of just stories. You know, social media and I don't want to call them rumors because that's kind of a negative connotation, but it's just talk. So I also hope to leave the meeting with everybody's opinions heard and numbers realized, both in the positive and negative of the Edgerton 5 and noon whistles, but also some guidance as to what we can do as a group. Not be keyboard warriors, but actually do it properly as citizens. So I typed a bunch of questions and I don't need to take all your time answering each of those, but I made a couple extra copies that maybe the council can address and things that I think are maybe being misconstrued on social media. And so I'm just gonna read them. Has a formal complaint been filed? Exactly, does it pertain to violating an ordinance? And if so, which ordinance does it violate? Has a formal citation been issued in response to the complaint? Is either a complaint or a citation of public record? And can we see the exact ordinance that they feel are being violated? I know that temporarily the whistles are quiet, and I was just wondering if that was the result of a citation or some, fiscal responsibility. If we are in violation of an ordinance, if there's some, fees or fines that we're looking at. And was the temporary shutting down of the whistles in response to that? Another question, has there been any formal measurements of the loudness and compared to the train whistle that I live on the train tracks, but really don't hear them very often unless I'm listening for them, and when I do, I enjoy it. I do enjoy the 5 o'clock and the noon whistle. Wish I worked in town, so when I retire, I'm gonna listen to it every day. And if an ordinance is truly being violated, what options do we have, and what exactly is the procedure to either amend or change or exclude or include language into the ordinances? I don't think any of myself or my friends, the supporters or the non-supporters really know. There's not a cookbook to go to and say, how do I do this? So And regarding the siren itself, again, I thought that it had been replaced or repaired recently. And is the sound level and like the duration, the same as it's always been? I just turned 62. I don't ever remember the whistle not being, good in times of disrepair. But there's been many issues that, we knew that Dorsey Trailer was gonna come home for lunch, and Grandpa and my dad were gonna be walking across the street. 5 o'clock was get your ass home, so I'm in support of keeping the whistle and hopefully just, getting some questions answered. Thank you.
Did you say we get a copy of the list of questions?
Sure.
Becky, I can at least address a couple of those. There's been no formal complaint. We've had some complaints, but no formal complaints. There's been no citations issued, and it has not been turned off because of a citation. It's been turned off to allow this process to go forward. I don't believe that there is any violation of either state nor city code that would require a citation to be issued. I think it's entirely, unless it's been amplified beyond what your recollection was and what the need for what this original one was, and I don't think it has been. Absent that, I think this is simply a political decision, and is it something we wish to continue to do because of ties to the past, or is it something we wish to change or abandon? And that's for the council, in my opinion. So if I was given a complaint, I would not be issuing a citation, or I would not be pursuing a citation, because I don't believe I can prove it.
Thank you.
And with decibels, we have not checked that.
We haven't tested the decibels, but no adjustments have been made.
Okay.
So I mean,
Am I allowed to speak to that or no? Do I gotta sign in?
You got an answer on the decibel?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to because I didn't sign in, but I could probably help with that question.
We'll let you answer that. Mark.
Mark Wells, 420 Newville Street, Edgerton. The decibel measurement has been tested at one point by people who are hobbyists that chase these sirens around and try to locate them. So at 100 feet off the post at ground level, decibel is 105 decibels at peak. And the siren, to get the peak level, it's spinning at 3,600 RPM, which takes roughly 45 seconds to get there, then it drops off. So at that point, it's at 105 decibels, which is equivalent to standing 3 feet away from a clarinet. So, or a push lawnmower, so. That's all right.
Thank you. Patrick Zimmerman.
Hi, guys. Y'all know me pretty familiar. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak more diligently about the town siren today. I'm glad it finally made it on the agenda after a year of me asking for this, so I'm glad that we're here now. The first thing I'd kind of like to do is talk about some of the language that's been used against us, against people that are having a problem with the siren and feel like it does impact our life. And I've heard a lot about this, like people calling us transplants. And that's really upsetting. This type of language is damaging. Sorry about that. This type of language is damaging to the Edgerton community. It's insular in nature and doesn't foster growth. I truly hope the council isn't sharing this insular viewpoint. It is my hope that we can transition from this damaging language and create a collaborative environment where all ideas can be shared without intimidation or threat. I propose that I'm hoping after this, maybe we can develop a committee with a couple of people like myself and maybe Patty and maybe Sean or another council person to review what's best for the community and what the next course of action is going to be with the siren. Because I think everybody should have a fair say. And right now, it seems like we're being overwhelmed by people that don't want any change and aren't willing to change. And I just don't think that's fair, and I don't think that represents the community of Abington in any meaningful way. And without transplants like myself, there wouldn't be a community and there wouldn't be a council here to talk to. Because the community would be gone. There wouldn't be businesses in town. So it's really upsetting when I hear that business people are using language like transplants. That's unfortunate. And I hope that we can change that language. And I hope that we can work collaboratively and come up with a meaningful solution that benefits everybody in the community. So I think that's about all I have to say in the matter. I've said most of it already at council meeting, but I do want to clarify that I am definitely the one that brought the complaint forward. And I do think that the city is in violation of their own ordinance 281, which clearly implicates the council in following the noise ordinance of the city. And the noise ordinance includes language that if a noise disturbs a person within their private residence, that is a violation. So I still haven't received an answer from that from the attorney, but hopefully we'll get one soon. I know it takes a while to look those things up, but we're looking forward to those responses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Casey Burns. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Casey Burns. My family's been here since 1840. Okay. It's to get caught up or to get hung up on what somebody just said about being a transplant. Everyone in this room, all your families, everyone here is a transplant. Okay. My family in 1840 walked down a road from building the railroad tracks through New York and became transplants. We've owned the same piece of property since 1840, okay? Getting hung up on wording is absurd, in my opinion. That's opinion. This, I understand, it's one person's opinion against another. My opinion is that I would like to keep the whistle. That's just because that's what I grew up with. I really do enjoy it. I've had a lot of people come through my station who would enjoy it. It's public opinion that enjoys the whistle. I think it's a good part of our community, and I think it would be nice to keep it if we can. The majority is going to make the rule, as they always do and do in our government. Just the way it's going to be. I'm sorry if it offends some people, and that's just the way it's going to be. Some people are going to have their toes stepped on. That's the way it's got to be. We cannot please everyone. And that's just government and public opinion. I've heard from many people, I see many people. In my opinion, the majority of the people I have talked to have talked to me, and these are unsolicited from people, is that they would like the whistle to stay. Obviously, I've lived in several locations in the city and had the whistle and not the whistle, and it's been off and on. I've lived in town a long time, and around town. I guess I didn't prepare anything, but that's just my opinion. Another thing I wanted to say was, this whistle also, is it the same whistle as the one that warns people of like tornadoes and things of that nature or not? Okay, that was just my next thing.
Thank you. Elliot Hansen.
Hello, my name is Lloyd Anson. I live at 416 South Main Street. I've lived in the city limits for going on about 11 years now. Grew up in Stoughton, lived on a small farm in between Stoughton and Edgerton. Got a job here in Edgerton, which is why I decided to move here. And there's several things in the city that I thought were kind of stood out over even Stoughton and other towns. There's Tobacco Days, we have Chili Mania, we have concerts at the park, once a week or once a month in the summer, I believe. And the other thing is the whistle. I'm very sorry that it does disturb some people, but I think it's kind of a cool piece of history that we keep around. There's many things that are allowed throughout the town, including plowing, things that are necessities, some are maybe not so much, they're just kind of neat. I have a 4-month-old infant at home. The garbage truck woke her up this morning. It's just kind of life. We have a dog that startles her too, and neighbors have dogs, but noise isn't all bad. But again, I'm sorry it does disturb some people, but I would like to keep the whistle. So a neat piece of Edgerton history, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise Byrne.
I'm gonna pass.
Pass. Matt McIntyre.
Sure.
I can drive up to McCaffrey, to Wisconsin. Yeah, some very good dialogue tonight. Everybody's been really nice and so forth. To talk about it, inner feelings, good and bad for it, and stuff like that. And when all the years I'm around here, 4 generation school cases since the 1800s. And but I lived next to across from Stock Temple on my grandma McIntyre's house back in the 60s and 70s on and off. And the whistle was right over there back in the days and stuff. And our 4 uncles, that fought World War II, the Nazis over in Germany, they loved it. Some of them worked 3rd shift and 2nd shift. It just reminded me of them when I was a little kid and like 4 or 5 years old in the 60s. To listen to them talk about what it meant to them, that sound or something. It was an enlightening. It was just a young kid. It was kind of a cool experience to hear from that generation, the greatest generation. But I worked 3rd shift also, and it never bothered me. I woke up and had to go after. It's just a nice thing to have in the community. I think it connects people. There's opinions for and against. You gotta appreciate people's opinions and stuff like that. But the connection and stuff is what drives a lot of people to live in our cities and so forth. I've been in New York, LA, California, around the world, United States traveling as a gabber, it can be. And I always talk about Edgerton. It's in my heart. I'll die here. I'm going to bury in Boot Hill. And I tell them about Edgerton and stuff, the things I've been involved with, all the council members, past mayors and stuff like that. And tell them about some of the things that we have in our community. And one of the things that stood out was about this 5 o'clock whistle. They thought it was very unique. The Bronx, New York, they were talking about it, and stuff like that. And Hard Rock Cafe in New York and LA and stuff. So that's just kind of a general opinion. I don't know. It just seems like a nice thing to me. It does, but that's just my opinion, sirs, and stuff like that. And all of us been around the community for a while, the decision makers, and this town has grown because of people being here. And I appreciate that. I know everyone else here does too. That's what makes the town, new ideas and so forth. But not everything goes my way or everyone's way, as we know, that the decision makers. Back in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s for 30 years, I've been doing that on and off. And sometimes I'd be upset walking on City Hall, but I'd walk on City Hall and I'd say, thank you for letting me participate in elected government. It's a blessing. I don't think I'll ever do it again. But anyways, council, mayor, and everyone like that. So good luck on the decisions. We make decisions all the time. And stuff and do what's in your heart, stuff like that. Finally, the council in 2017. Debbie Braun and Jonathan Fry voted to keep it back down. Anyways, a lot more to say than that. To me, it's just kind of a neat thing. I work for ship too, folks, and stuff. To me, it just, to me, it connected connection. It's from your heart. It's really cool. So, thank you. You.
Way to go, someone.
I'm Katie Gollison, I live on Blaine Street. I've lived here all my life, as many generations of my family in. When this first came up, when somebody first posted it, it was like, not again. But I have to back up and I have to thank you for bringing it up. Because what you did was you drove some of us to investigate that siren. And what we found out was the siren is a Wisconsin invention. It's manufactured in Wisconsin. And Edgerton has one of two that still operate. That to me puts that siren in a historical perspective. Now, we spend a lot of time thinking and trying to save our architecture. And it dawned on me that that whistle is just as important as that architecture. So after researching it and how unique it is, and finding out that there's a whole group of people that really do search these whistles out, and finding that maybe we have this little treasure trove of people that could help us when the whistle doesn't want to behave right. I'm sure, you know, a couple calls to these guys, they'd be more than happy to help us figure it out. Now, I understand third shift. My husband and I spent a lot of time there. Yes, the whistle maybe disturbed some of that. But I never noticed that it actually disturbed my family life at all. My boys know it, my grandkids know it. It's just it's a reminder of the past that pulls us together. Sometimes when I hear it, I think of days that I prayed to hear that whistle when I was in the tobacco field. Because it meant we got to go down to the farm and have a little bit of break time off that tobacco field. My concern with this whole noise ordinance thing is there's other things that, you know, could possibly fall into that. So I would hate to get into that trap because there are things that happen in this town that probably don't exactly fit into everybody's idea of a nuisance. I live on Blaine Street. I've always lived up by school. There's a lot of noise associated with school that could be called a nuisance. Every Friday night, we don't have to go to the football game. We can listen to it in our living room with the windows shut. And that's fine. I mean, I knew it was there when I bought the house and it's fine. It's really strange because when I hear that whistle start up, it's the same feeling I get when I hear a song on the radio that means something to me. It just connects everybody that grew up here. I'm sorry that you missed that part of it. If you had grown up here, you might have that same love that we have for that whistle. But not to ignore people's complaints, I would like to, you know, check on the duration of it. Somebody mentioned to me that it seemed to be longer than what it was in the past. If it is, you know, maybe we can get it back to shorter. If it's too loud, I don't know that there's any way to make it less loud. But just to share a little interesting fact that maybe some people don't realize. It's a special whistle. It has two tones. And not only can you and I all hear it, but people that are deaf can hear the vibrations of it for 4 miles, which is really pretty incredible. I am gonna kind of campaign to get it a historic designation and maybe even its own plaque, because there is a very interesting history behind it. So obviously, yes, I'm for keeping the siren. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dan Ware.
Good evening, I'm Dan Warren, live 313 Burke Lane. At this time, I'm a hunter, a fisherman, a city resident. Third generation of my family's raising right now. I moved into town when I was about 16, 17. Used to be able to hear the whistle out to the farm I grew up on Stevensville Road. There's a good feeling, being a hunter and a fisherman at noon. Depending on which way the wind blows. Fort Atkinson has a noon whistle, Milton has a noon whistle. And it's interesting when you can listen to it when you're sitting in the middle of Lake Kashmir, the timing of the balls, they're about 30 seconds off from the different towns, unless it's from the distance that they are from the, I may be wrong in saying that. For 17 years, I traveled 20 states working pipeline. Doing pipeline, you live next to the railroad tracks. That's how your equipment and the pipe that you install in the ground is delivered, just like railroad. Sometimes you were far enough away from the railroad that the train didn't make you hit that in a fifth wheel camper. Some of them have the roof right here. I lost all my hair hitting my head. I'm for the whistle. It's a tradition. We need to quit losing traditions in this world and let our children know that these traditions. I'm for it. Thank you.
Thank you. You got the other sheets that.
That didn't want to speak, you want?
You have a tally on them? That was all the ones that I had for anyone to speak on this.
Can I ask one more question? I noticed that at the beginning, we said the agenda was posted online. I just want to be clear, that wasn't posted online until Sunday. That was not posted online on Friday.
Yeah, but it's, the
I
law,
was checking for it.
yeah, the law says it has to be 24 hours before the meeting, and I put it on yesterday morning.
I know, but don't say that you put it online on Friday then. Make sure you indicate that you
Sorry,
put it online on
you're
Sunday.
correct. I'm sorry. It was posted on Friday.
Yeah.
On Sunday, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was posted at the other sites on
Correct.
other locations on Friday.
It should be clear, just like it's a siren, not a whistle on the agenda.
Okay, the responses here were 7 for do not change, 3 for operate at 5 only, 1 for modify the whistle so it's quieter or shorter, relocate 1, discontinue except for special occasions 2. Thank you all for coming down here. We'll have some discussion.
I think we handed down another.
Oh.
Was that too late?
Oh, Mark, he already spoke, unless he wants to speak again.
No, I.
No,
Okay.
but my question, maybe I missed it, Mayor. Was there a tally for no change?
7.
7?
He said 7. Yeah.
No.
There were no
Zero responses, no change.
Thank you. There was no tally for what, do not change the result.
Oh, discontinue. There was no discontinues on that.
No, my question, it says, do not change the whistle.
Yes. so
There's another one.
7 on that.
Okay, thank you. Seems like there's more people here than 7, 9, 11, 12, 13. But it's some not those.
Those tally forms, yeah.
Those were the ones that didn't want to speak. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, well, that's fair. There is a little history with the whistle siren. A number of years ago, before it got moved down to the pool, volunteer fire department paid $1,500 to have it rebuilt so that it would run again, it would work efficiently, so. those members of that department at the time felt that it was necessary, but I think a good share of them are gone now. I know a few of them are. And I want to thank everybody for their input tonight, and if the council has any thoughts on this, how you want to go with it, or you want to continue.
Okay, make a quick one. As I was with the Public Works Director earlier, and he gave me, he sent out a request on Friday, he got a electrician to look into the controls and the timer and the relay switches and whatnot out there. They did come up with a couple of options with the thing, and it's correcting it, the relay switch for one, or not correcting, but looking into a new relay switch for one and looking into a new timer, a separate. He said either one, he could possibly reduce the length to 15 seconds on either one. But he's not gonna affect the decibel level. So, we wanted to look at something like that. There is a way of reducing it, but you have to change the switches and or the timer and the switch until he gets in and figures it out. But he can do it, and it's not very expensive at all.
Do we know how long does it run now?
30 seconds. The way it's set up right now, according to this, it has to go to its peak before it can shut off. So it starts up for 15, runs up and then peaks out, and then it has to just die down slowly.
So that's the
It takes a total, it's a 45-second somewhere in there from the time it kicks on, but not until it's only 30 seconds that you're actually listening to it, going up, cutting off, and going down. He's got a new timer, it says here, you can work that 45 seconds into a delay. I guess I don't know if he's using the same word, some type of delay so that the sound is only going up and down within 15 seconds or so, he says. So we're not guaranteeing that he says 15 seconds or so with modifications. So if that's something you wanted to consider, it's possible. Considering leaving the whistle, that's the siren whistle / whatever opinion you have, the noise, not noise.
So-
It's not noise.
And so the level of it, meaning how loud it is, that's never changed? Do we know for sure? So anytime we get a new timer or switch or whatever, when we have to repair it, that does not change the loudness, correct?
No, that shouldn't affect the decibel level.
Okay, so that piece has never changed.
Correct.
So it sounds like possibly the length of it might have been altered over the years.
It may have been the last time it broke, when they fixed it, it may have just had a different switch put on, it,
Yeah.
and it came correct.
Okay, good.
So, and maybe, I don't know, I don't notice a difference from what it was, I don't know if you guys do, it went down, it went up in time. But we can fix and adjust the time in the switches. But it's only 15 seconds or so, it's not gonna be 5 or 6.
That sounds like that might be, the compromise.
Or at least a place to start and see if it's necessary to maybe relocate in the future. To try to start with and see if it makes any difference, if it's the length of time.
For the sake of discussion, I'm gonna make a motion that we look into this and we check out with Howard goes ahead and direct the utilities to director to look into this and getting the relay switch and or whatever the other piece is to get it lower in time.
Could we start a discussion about looking to eventually relocate? So we got.
There's a motion, so we need to.
I'll second.
Did you want to put it?
Now we can have a discussion.
Now we can have a, sorry about
Yes.
that.
No, that's fine.
For the sake of discussion.
Yeah, I
I
don't know if there's any interest in at least exploring relocating, so we maintain the benefit of having that connection, but also getting it away from residential.
Where has seen you.
Residential areas.
They'll acknowledge you. The mayor will acknowledge you.
From discussion.
So so for me, we'll be able to retain the benefit, but at least be considerate that there are some people that it's near their homes and finding a better place, whether it's a cemetery, whether it's the industrial park. Silly Lily.
I have no interest in looking at relocating.
Well, here it's getting at that, I've been thinking about that too. I don't care where you go relocate it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people that live next to it. I mean, you know, whether it's cemetery, whether it's out at the business park, whether it's wherever. We've got residential areas everywhere that's gonna be impacted, if you will.
We'd end up spending a lot of money and still picking somebody off or taking a
Right.
survey, say who doesn't care.
Not saying
But you're gonna
that
get a lot of
wherever
noise.
we're relocated, people will be upset, I'm just saying, I don't know relocating is going to be.
Unless you relocate to a brownfield site,
And what?
relocate it to a brownfield site.
Tell me more about brownfield site.
We have 3 brownfield sites in the city.
What's the ground?
We're still neighbors, Marilyn. Dan, you wanted to say something?
May I ask, have we lost a Republican Democratic country? We have a small percentage in this room that wishes our siren gone. We have a majority vote, a majority representation of keeping the whistle. What happened to our government when we have Democrats and Republican and that's when you do it and you go by the majority of the people? Why are we discussing something different when it's all cut? It should be cut and dry. Quit construing the words of the law to the point that it brings everything in. Keep it simple. It's a real simple thing to do in the job site. It's a simple thing to do in government. It's a simple thing to do in life.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor here for, to purchase the relay.
I think it was to look
Look
into.
Look into those options. What is that?
Yeah, on off delay relay and or. And then, and. The majority, yeah, want it, okay, we're gonna keep it. If I do this, all we're doing is looking in this short relay. It's not gonna hurt anybody, it may not help anybody, but it's certainly not gonna hurt anybody to run it 15, 20 seconds as opposed to 30 seconds. It's still there, guys.
The majorities that wants it is here now, but what about the other 5,800 people coming? So,
This isn't really a vote. If we were to have a vote on a ballot, that would be
why
a
don't we,
different situation.
why don't we just put a dollar amount on it, if the relay is cheap enough? Put it in and try it.
So budget hours, let's go.
$300.
Well,
Cap 300.
I think that I'm looking back at the 2017. I think there's a 500 options include $500 repair the whistle. And leave it, so it could be I would suggest going up, this was in 2017.
This is just replacing part of what's replaced the spring.
That I get, I'm just saying.
We have an estimate?
$200, right, right?
Oh, okay, then go to 3.
Well, yeah.
I don't care, yeah.
Someone would need to make.
The estimate is 200, so we figured 3 would cover
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Someone would need to make a motion to modify your motion. You could do that or someone else could. And right now it is.
Just to look
Just to
into it.
look into it, not to, look
Okay,
into it.
Let's
and-
amend it, let's amend it to go up to $300 to get it done.
To purchase.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I seconded your first motion, so I will second your amendment.
Okay, so then we should.
Follow that.
And then on top of that, I'm gonna, yeah, before we vote, I'm gonna make it, add on to it that we start it back up immediately until we get it done.
I'll second that.
Okay, right now, we would be voting on the amendments, although we can have further discussion on the amendment.
The amendment to buy it.
And start it up immediately.
I'll put the two together just so.
We gotta vote on the amendment right now.
Yeah, unless there's a further discussion, yes.
Okay.
So motion and a second to amend the original motion to purchase the relay up to $300 and immediately turn on whistle siren.
So I have one clarification to turn on now, not before the relay, is that what you're saying? Those are kind of two separate things.
Right.
Okay. That one's not after the other. Okay,
That's how you understood the motion?
I wasn't sure. I wanted clarification.
So if we turn back on tomorrow. When the relay was installed, we wouldn't be notified of it or be able to tell the difference if we're near it.
Yeah, but guess, how long it'll take? We're looking at a week, we're looking at a month.
Would depend on the schedule, but I think, I would guess, probably a lot closer to a week.
Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, roll call.
Burdick,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Motion for the amendment passes. Now the original motion
Is the same as what was just amended, and further discussion or further amendment could be had if it chose.
So we really don't need that motion now since it was into it.
Well, it was modified. No, the motion is, the motion has been modified to look into it and install it up to $300. Presumably if it came in at $500 or $350, it'd come back to council for further consideration.
Okay, any further discussion on the original motion?
Yeah, motion as modified.
I'm good.
As modified, which was.
Yep, I'm good. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was gonna be voting for,
I'm
so.
confused. We're
Yeah.
as, I got it, okay. I follow.
Everybody good? Roll call.
Burdick,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll go back to our order of agenda here. Thank you all for coming down. You want to stick around, we won't be here too much longer. Committee reports. Committee reports, finance committee.
So finance met today at 6:15. I will make a motion to approve bills and payroll in the amount of $304,257.27.
Bills. Okay. Any questions on the bills? Hearing none. Roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
I'll make a motion that, to fund the shortfall for our lead lateral, that we take approximately $206,000 loan on safe drinking water at about 0.25%.
Second.
Funding shortfall, any discussion?
We're successful in getting
State the federal, we'd be back to discussing it, right? Still.
You have to approve the
Why is that?
document. You approve all those documents, so it doesn't, the money doesn't go out.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve the Baker Tilly contract for auditing services.
This is the second, Tilly contract, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve the addendum to Cedar Corp contract for environmental consulting services for 407 North Main Street.
Motion and a second for addendum to Cedar Corp. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve payment to Graceful LLC for the Marshview Court property and including the $1,000 that was being withheld.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to payment to Graceful. Any discussion?
I just had one question. Is all the fill that he brought to the site worth anything to us? Let me discuss that part.
Is the, I guess, can I rephrase the question to make sure I understand it? Is the site better now than it was before? Is that your question? I would say yes, that fill is valuable because of the access to sanitary sewer without a grinder pump. The fill isn't perfectly clean fill, so someone will have to deal with that when they build. But the site being higher makes the site more valuable.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'll make a motion that we direct for the WWTP solar investment, the RFP to combine numbers 1 through 4, and then treat the wastewater building as a separate project as part of the RFP.
I'll second.
Motion and a second for the wastewater treatment plant solar investment. Any discussion?
I wanted to ask, when we look at the 5 sites we're looking at, is the wastewater treatment plant the largest energy user? It is. Thought it would. I hate to just say, well, let's just that one and simplify this, but yeah.
We will, as you probably saw in your staff report, there, the options that are out there, one being the, Janesville Solar Garden. We'll bring information to you about that for your consideration as an alternative, as a better payback, so hopefully you won't have to forego all of the benefit entirely.
Is the solar garden in Janesville being marketed towards municipalities or is it?
Any Alliant customer.
Okay.
Yeah, so you individually, us as a municipality are all eligible.
My question, when you guys were talking, I wasn't sure. The way you just worded it was different than what I thought you did in finance. You said that you're gonna do 1 through 4 of one RFP, and you're directing them to get another RFP for 5?
No, that was not the intent of what I wanted.
Because you were just gonna get her to direct them to see if it's worth doing an RFP for 5, right? Is that what you got written, or is that what you just meant? Okay, because I didn't read it that way just now. I'm sorry, hear it.
So I guess Ramona, is that, did you get, was the intent clear?
I'll tell you what marching orders I think we'll take from this is that we will prepare an RFP for the 4 facilities leaving out of the wastewater treatment plant. We will explore the options of the wastewater treatment plant further to understand if an RFP is necessary or warranted. I think the concern mentioned by the finance committee was that we certainly don't want to waste people's time.
Right, that's what I.
So we will get further information on that, but we want to proceed with the 4 now.
I'm glad you're a translator.
That's what I thought you just said, you're running RFP separate, but we're not gonna yet, we're gonna see if it's worth even doing an RFP for that project.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
concern is not holding up
Okay,
the
that's what, all right,
process.
no, that's good.
Thank you.
Understanding the motion now? Roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Oh, finance is done. Sorry, I was getting ready to hand it to Beth and I didn't even finish the finance yet.
Library board.
The library board met on November 14th at 6 p.m. It was a very brief meeting, a couple of updates on our meeting room progress. We have moved, or the movers have come in and moved the bookshelves that we needed moved and the furniture, and so that space is all cleared out. Construction is set to begin in January.
And then we are also recarpeting our large meeting room, and that's been set for December 4th. And our next meeting is the second Tuesday in December at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Utility.
Our utilities met Monday, November 13th at 5:45. Couple of leak credits that we discussed. We also considered the lead lateral project funding, which we also considered in finance as well. The recommendations there were a couple of them in front of me. Either go with the Safe Drinking Water Fund or capital surplus. In finance, we went with the Safe Drinking Water Fund. And that was our meeting on the 13th.
Thank you. Next thing is consider trick or treat hours.
Parks.
Oh, I skipped that one. I already checked
Don't leave me out.
off.
Don't leave us out.
Anything going on in parks?
Yes, Parks met on Tuesday, November 7th. Couple things, we approved staff applying for a grant to the community fund for cornhole equipment or the bean tosses, whatever that they call it, all different things. So we're applying for grants for 2 sets of those, and the thought is if we give them, possibly we have them and we move them throughout each park throughout the summer. Maybe we're gonna look into having some sort of a tracking system. So number 1, we know if somebody walks off with them, which we hope that won't happen. And number 2, we can kind of advertise where's the cornhole equipment this week, or at which park. So that was approved to move forward with that, which we thought was a great idea. We considered the play structure, which we approved at finance tonight, and at council, the cost of it. But we had looked at 2 different types of play equipment from 2 different companies, and we went with the Game Time. Also, we talked about striping the basketball court at Vincent Park and Hain Road, and also Foursquare and the basketball and Foursquare, each of those parks. We also discussed possible sidewalk installation at Racetrack Park and Dickinson Park and Orchard Park. So I think we just asked staff to provide some cost estimates as to what that would be. No decision was made. We discussed some of the upgrades at Racetrack Park with respect to the dance floor area, with respect to the shelter that we had taken down. And we've met with the Lions Club to see what their needs would be for the 4th of July. We will also be meeting with the Tobacco Days, so we're gonna get their input. And make sure that whatever they feel would be adequate and would like, we'll make sure that all of that is taken care of. Howard reported that concession stands and the bathrooms are all closed up and they're winterized. Seating will happen in November/December, and that's for the athletic fields, if I recall, at Racetrack Park. Is that correct? I just have seating. I didn't say where it was.
Oh, the installation of the benches?
No, this seed.
Grass seeding?
Grass seed, yeah.
That's happened out at the athletic fields.
At the athletic fields, thank you.
But the pollinator seedings happened this week.
And the pollinator area is prepped at Central Park, and now it's gonna be seeded. Great.
Was today.
Okay. See, I didn't have to report on that. That's it. I think from Parks, Casey, do you think, is there anything else that we should report on? I think that was everything. Okay, good. Thank you. And I might say, I don't know why we didn't have trick or treat hours up when everybody was here. We should have.
Why, you don't wanna go home?
No, I think it's okay.
Yeah, you know who goes home to?
That's true. Okay.
Okay, consider trick or treat hours. get rid of them, let people go whenever they want, turn your light off when you're done.
Second.
I can't make the motion.
I know, I wouldn't second that anyway, Chris, I'm sorry.
So this kind of goes back to the email we got, right, from
The input after we
after
Halloween. Yeah.
I think it really is a good idea to go from 5 to 7. Shorten the time from 8 to 5 to 7.
It might be helpful to have some background for people who don't have it. Didn't receive the email.
No, she sent it to all council members, right? Oh. You guys don't get to see it if you're not, oh, sorry.
There's some concerns about the trick or treat hours going to 8 o'clock. Small kids having to get up for school. I don't know where the first parental responsibility dropped off, but you
Yeah.
can't take your kid home at 7, and
Yeah.
I guess make everybody go home,
I had 9 trick or treaters, and 3 were my grandkids.
but. I agree.
3 of them might do it.
I only had a few between 7 and 8. I mean, most of them were between the 5 and 7 o'clock.
It wasn't an ideal year either.
No. But, no, it wasn't, but, and it just seems like there's so many of these trunk or treats the weekend before, so I think kids are getting some of their fill of the trick or treating. It's not like it anymore, like it's just one night a year and that's it.
But we're not telling them they have to go until 8. We're not telling people that they can turn off their lights.
Yep.
So I don't see why we should adjust. Parents can just determine when their kids are done, and people giving out candy can turn off their lights when they determine they're done.
But I've also had a lot of adults say, I don't feel like I should turn off my light, I want to, but I don't feel like I should because the hours are going to 8, and by the way, I had no kids after 7 o'clock, people have said. That's just what I've heard.
I'm getting fat,
Oh, we have-
leftover candy.
We don't have the motion. We do not have a motion.
I mean, we're free to discuss.
Within
I
limits,
saw the-
within limits, yeah.
Well, I'm always within them.
I've always thought.
I'm gonna, I mean, apparently you were joking and Jim was joking, but I'm not. I mean, I don't understand restrictions.
Well, yeah.
I never have. And I'm like, I mean, you are free, like Tim said, to turn your light off. And I don't know why you would feel guilty about it. An 8-year-old kid is not gonna hold a grudge because you turned your light off. They're gonna come back next summer and throw a tomato at your house because you turned your light off at 7 o'clock. You wanna turn it off, turn it off. You wanna keep it on, keep it on. And it's up to the parents to get the kids home by school. This is overstepping. I was surprised when I first found out years and years ago in Microsoft that there was special hours and that people really expected you to stay within them. And I think, most of the hours we have are pretty reasonable, but I just don't think we should be condensing. I think, if anything, people should have the option to go, and again, it's, I hate down this road, we just went with the whistle. When I was a kid, we didn't look for a light, we knocked on any door, dark or not.
Halloween or not.
Yeah. So, we've already got the light, they light things seem to be the way we do it now in modern times, turn the light off. I don't want to restrict it anymore.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we don't change the hours. The hours will stay from 5 to 8.
Well, they were 48, I think.
No.
They were 5.
Ask a question, recommended hours?
Hold on, we have to have a second first.
I'll second.
Okay.
So. the motion is not change the hours, so.
5 to 8, no action really needed, actually.
Right, right.
Is this a recommendation, 5 to 8, or is this kind of like set in stone?
Well, we don't issue citations if someone's outside of those, if that was the question.
Guaranteed.
No, it's not an ordinance.
It's posted, just like all communities post their hours. It's on the news here, all the hours in the area.
Can I just say, so it does help on the weekends because you don't want kids starting out at 9 o'clock in the morning, going until 9 o'clock at night. So if Halloween falls on a weekend, it's good to have some parameters of time. But during the week, that's, I don't know, if they wanna go after school, I know when I was, like you, know, when I was a kid, on the way home, you'd start knocking on doors and trick or treat. You know, and school ended at what, 3:30, whatever time? And we'd walk uphill both ways in the snow.
I mean, I don't have little kids anymore, but I do have grandkids of that age, and I don't get home from work, and I like to go with now, and I don't get home from work till almost 6. And that like gives me an hour, and it's not just like we go up and down the street, we have people all over town that we get in the car with, we go over to, my brother's house, we go to my sister's house, and they're all, so I don't like that, oh, we only had until 7, we would like only have until 7, because maybe some people who do have young kids are like me, and, well, geez, I don't get home till 6, now I gotta get my kid in and out of this whole thing in an hour. So that's why I don't want it any smaller than it is.
If kids aren't getting to bed early enough on a school night, that's not the person that left their light on till 8 o'clock.
No.
Hey, Mayor, we had 74 people total on 601, and we had 24 people between 7 and 8:15 because people were.
So I was glad she said it, because I wanted this a year ago, because 5 to 7 is pretty average for area communities. I wanted to see us go to 5 to 7. I was glad to see the principal win it. So I know you can turn off your light, but what's the point, let's use the most common sense, practical thing that, if we're gonna make this suggestion, so community school principal asks us to do it. You don't listen to her, who would you listen to on this? So I was always been for 5 to 7. As a parent, with small kids, and, well, yeah, but, I mean, at some point, if you have really small kids, yeah, you're getting them ready for that, and you don't have to go out there.
Can I ask again what the email is about? I think I missed that.
About the 8 o'clock shutdown time for trick or treating.
But it should be sooner?
Yes, because it affected the kids the next day in school.
One of the principals of the elementary school sent out outside suggesting the council think about changing it to earlier so the kids could get home, because their parents don't take them home apparently.
I think the wording ought to be the recommended hours are 5 to 8. Keep it simple.
Well, that's what it is today.
Okay, well, motion on the floor is to leave it at 5 to 8. Is there gonna be any more discussion on that?
I'm one of the guys that doesn't like shutting their light off, so I want to keep my light on till 8. That's what
Mine stays on all night, but
This
nobody comes up my
has
way.
nothing to do with your house light. Okay, this is trick or treating.
Oh,
You
okay.
can keep your house light on all night long.
I can even find your front door.
What happens, I find out.
And this is about kids trick or treating, not adults drink or treating.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis.
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
No.
Langen,
No.
Preble,
No.
Yes.
Oh, Mayor, you had to bring it.
It's been a while.
This is the first time this year?
I think there might be some in the budget, maybe.
No.
Not like the old days.
Interesting.
Maybe the principal should send something out to the parents as they try and get your kids home early.
Okay. I think that motion passed. 4-3. Next item is consider mayor recommendation for committee appointments. I don't know, did we pass out this application from Richard? No. Richard Stern, I want to appoint him to the Housing Authority for Elm Drive. He's partner with his wife with the truckers insurance down here. West Bolton. Wow. And he mentioned it to him, he joked right on it. Oh, okay. been vacant for a while, so.
Good.
That's my recommendation.
I'll motion to approve your recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion to the second to appoint Richard Stern to the Housing Authority. Any discussion? None. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Tim, you got a problem with the library board meetings? You never get to them?
So I've missed the last 2 or 3, and then I'm going to be there for December, but I'm gonna miss January and February. Nikki's senior year, so it seems like every damn sporting event's on a Tuesday. So that's why I reached out to you, to see if I can get somebody to cover for me for a couple of months. I like being on it. I prefer to stay on it, but it's not fair that I'm missing, I've missed too many meetings.
Can't appoint an alternate to that one. Change some of our rules.
We would. So that's
So what happens there then? You just have somebody cover for him or no, or?
If we had an alternate, they could.
Right, but without an alternate.
Someone would go and listen and report, but they can't vote.
Oh, does the voting cause an issue without you being there?
No.
No.
They handle
Quorum all the time.
We do. It would be nice to have someone from city council there though, because occasionally a question comes up that we need.
What are the meetings?
If we could have
Tuesday of the month.
someone appointed to cover for Tim, that would be fantastic.
Help unless somebody has a burning desire.
Good in December, so we're just looking at January and February.
January and February.
So we'll just keep that out there, so we won't change anything tonight. Okay. Well, that's it for my,
Cover January.
my appointments.
Probably, but we'll.
You'll let me know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next thing is, Mayor, Alderperson and staff reports. Home for the holidays parade this weekend, you put all these other stressful meetings on us. Parade and then all the other activities, the library, the chili, certainly North House is open. I think the museum might be open for a day. I think Becky said she was gonna try and open it up.
I think she is.
Thank Jim for all the work he's done down there at the
Yes.
park, getting everything working as good as it can be without getting some more wires and lights in it.
I just wanted to mention something about the parade, so. Not that I'm involved in what they're doing this particular event because I am a judge in the parade, but I also a member of the Knights of Columbus, and they are trying to spread the word. If anybody here would like to help us spread the word, they will be collecting non-perishable. Non-perishable items with, I think they're gonna use like, they're gonna do shopping carts, and they're gonna go like along the curb line, like almost like a reverse candy thing. It's like, instead of them giving you, you give to them. So if you want to spread the word and have people bring, whatever small item or whatever they can, they will be doing that. It'd be nice if they could get as many of those contributions as possible.
Can we put that out there on the?
We're trying to get
Yeah.
it out. I just thought, this is just one more opportunity to spread it, so.
Can you ask Diane to put it in the paper?
So we should have moved number 10 down to between 13 and 14, so we could have had an audience here.
Yeah.
Yes. There will be a write-up in the paper. It's just too late to make any more changes to that.
No, I just,
No.
a few more years.
It's what he is.
Oh,
Congratulations, Steve Stricker, for winning the Charles Schwab Championship. Wednesday will be the 60th anniversary of John F. Kennedy getting killed, if anybody here remembers that. A couple of us here.
5 months old,
Yeah. And happy Thanksgiving, a couple days coming up here. I think that's all I have. If anybody else have anything else?
Yeah, the joint review board met last week, and for the two new TIF districts, that's really the first step of that process. That entity doesn't take a vote. It was explained that if, for example, one of the people there did want to change the boundaries or something, the best avenue for that would be a tomorrow night's planning commission meeting. So its route for those TIFs are joint review, looks at it, doesn't vote, it goes to planning, then it goes to council, and then it crosses the finish line with the joint review board, and we're meeting December 20th.
And the public hearings tomorrow on both districts, so. Anybody else? Anybody want to do number 14 here?
For a motion, we go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, discuss and consider property purchase and economic incentives, and closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 185.G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Discuss and consider PFAS claim against DuPont's 3M.
I'll second. Second, go into closed session. Any discussion? Read none, roll call.
Andy Davis,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. We are in closed session.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for